Hey guys, Jessica here. So today we are going to talk about the new Medela Freestyle Flex with the hands-free wearable Medela cups. These are new to the US market. It looks like they were just becoming available on Amazon this week. I actually imported this one from Germany because I was too impatient to wait and wanted to know more about this one. The Freestyle Flex has been available in this format for a couple years. It is typically sold with the Personal Fit flanges. It's been a solid performer. It's relatively high cycle speeds, good strength. The biggest complaint was, let me turn this noise on for you. This pump is loud, and a lot of people thought it sounded like a duck quacking. So that was not really everyone's favorite thing. I really don't like my pumps to quack at me. This one is a little bit quieter. It's ever so slight. It's a little bit quieter and it has a little bit of a deeper sound. It doesn't really sound like it's quacking at you. So I would say that that's an upgrade. And the hands-free cups are obviously very desirable. Hands-free cups are something that has really exploded on the market in the last 3 years. We went from having just Freemie cups that launched about 8 years ago now to Freemie and Spectra cups. Then we started seeing YOU cups. Occasionally they could be imported off of Amazon. Then we saw Legendary import them. Now we've got so many cups. There's at least a dozen types of hands-free cups in my office. But let's talk about what are the issues with those cups so we can compare them to these Medela cups to see if there's something you might be interested in. So the big complaints with cups, they're large, they're kind of awkwardly shaped, they don't look natural, they don't have a very high capacity for some of them. Some of them are as low as 4 to 5 ounces, and for moms with oversupply, that may not be enough, but we do have others that hold 8 to 10 ounces. They're really hard to put together. They lose suction compared to flanges, and they're hard to wash. It's extra pieces. It's a lot more hassle. So let's look at these cups. These cups excel in this area. They are a fairly natural profile. They're very, very lightweight. They have a flat bottom, so when you take them off, you can set them down. They have, this is my favorite feature, when you clip them together, you can get an audible seal, so you know that they're in place. And they're only 3 parts. You have a bowl, you have a flange, which in the box came with 21 and 24, and you have a one-piece membrane that's very similar in style to what we're seeing with the Personal Fit flanges. So basically, they took this and created the cup form. So as of right now, these are only going to be available with the Freestyle Flex that I've seen. I have not seen them sold separately. We don't know when or if replacement parts are going to be available, which is a huge concern for me. And you're going to hear me say this with a lot of new pumps that hit the market. Replacement parts can be really expensive. They can be tricky to get your hands on. And if you can't get replacement parts, your pump doesn't work. It's as simple as that. If you can't get the parts, you can't pump with them like you plan to. So I don't know how long it's going to be until we see this be available. In terms of how long I expect these to last, I do have a little concern about the plastic in these. Part of what makes them lightweight is the fact that the plastic is thin. It does not seem hard for me to believe that it's not going to be that hard to break these. If you put them in a bag and they get crushed, if these get warped at all, they're not as thick as the Freemie or the Spectra cup plastic is, which is a good thing because these are lighter weight. However, I don't know how that's going to work with durability. This seal here reminds me a lot of Tupperware. Tupperware does eventually wear over time. Those seals are not super durable. So that's a concern. This tubing is basically the same as the original Freestyle tubing. However, it has these slightly different adapters. This piece right here feels like it's going to be a point of failure. I would not expect this tubing to last more than 6 to 9 months because I feel like over time, as you put this in and out, it's going to actually start to wear because it's sitting on that 90-degree angle versus being straight like the original tubing. It is the same adapter, so you are going to be able to take your new Freestyle Flex and you're going to be able to use the same tubing you were able to use with this, which means you will be able to pair it with the Personal Fit flanges if that's what you want. And I personally always recommend not relying exclusively on cups. One of the downsides of cups is they don't work quite as well for a lot of people, which means you may need to have the flanges for when you don't need to be hands-free or you don't need to be discreet in order to get better output. It's just going to depend on your goals and your situation. Overall, I like the cups. I have those handful of concerns. You know, the only other thing I really noted, this is a very steep angle, and this 24 is more like a 22 to a 23. So in terms of inserts, traditional Maymom longs did not work. Freemies did not work. Legendary worked, but you had to put it in there and kind of wait a couple minutes for it to like expand and collapse. Otherwise, it just stayed folded up. What did work were Willow brand inserts, fit nicely into here, and Maymom short inserts fit nicely into here. Nini supply inserts did not fit nicely into here. They did not sit quite right with this rim, and I did see a loss of suction. So we're kind of limited on inserts. I don't know if these are going to come in a 27. Given that it's Medela and typically everything comes in 21, 24, and 27, I honestly expect to see a 27. I would honestly be surprised if these were not a brand that didn't come in that 30 or that 32 as well. But we'll see, because those are not super common sizes. But I don't know how much they're going to change what they typically offer to reflect what we're actually seeing in practice versus what they recommend. So that is something that I would be watching for. But let's get into this, because a big question, sorry, this one's upside down. A big question here is, are these the exact same pump with different colors? I will say they're close. They're really, really close. There were just a few things that I noted that were a little different, mainly coming down to this one is running just ever so slightly faster and with a little bit higher suction. This one's running a little bit slower, a little bit less suction, but it is performing better in terms of being closer to single pumping strength at double pumping. The cups performed equally well with both. So let me pull up these graphs so you can see these were really, really close. I would say that this is the slightly refined, slightly upgraded version of this. If I had to speculate on the differences, this feels like it's got a little bit better internal padding. There's been a couple of videos over the years where somebody has cracked one of these open, and I will see if I can't find one to link. But there was very little padding in here, which is why it was so loud and sounded like it quacked. And if you laid it down on a table, it actually kind of shimmied away because it vibrated so hard. This one doesn't have quite that same volume. It doesn't quack at you, and it did not walk away when I laid it on the table. So let's pull up those graphs and take a look and see what the actual data said on the testing. Okay, so in comparing the original Freestyle Flex to the new Freestyle Flex double pumping with the flanges, we are talking so close. The original is ever so slightly stronger, but both of them get plenty of suction for the average pumping needs. I did compare single pumping versus double pumping. The updated Freestyle definitely won this hands down. It performs a lot more consistently when comparing single to double. I felt like the motor was maybe a little bit higher quality, or the program was a little more refined. And then this is how close the new hands-free cups were to the original flanges. That is really, really close. I can't think of a single cup on the market that is performing that well. So it is very obvious that this design was well thought through. This is going to be one of our better performing cups, in my opinion. We'll see how it holds up. We'll have to see how it performs with other pumps. We'll have to see if it's something that people can get their hands on pretty easily. The fact that it's right now, it's only being sold with the pump. If you don't need a pump, these are probably not the cups for you. If you're buying this pump, it might be an option for you to choose the package that has the cups and then just get flanges and other tubing. So then you would have the best of both worlds. Overall, I really like this. These cups are super easy to use, super lightweight. They're performing almost as well as flanges. I love the profile. I love how easy they are to put together and take apart. They're rather compact. It does say that they hold up to 5 ounces. They're pretty leak resistant. There is a tiny air hole right here, but I would say that you got pretty good range of motion with these, at least as good as other cups. I didn't feel like you had to stay straight up, but depending on your milk supply, you may have to stay more upright than what I would think. So I think this is going to be a good option. I don't think people need to run out and buy this setup because it's not going to be, groundbreaking technology changes. I do suspect over time, based on the way that these are going to wear, we know the membranes are going to have to be replaced. I would suspect that we're going to get additional sizes with the flanges and that there's probably going to be replacements. And I'm going to go out on a limb. They're going to have to sell the replacement bowl. Just like we've been able to assemble LV Stride cups from the different replacement parts, this is 3 parts. I don't know how much they're going to cost. I don't know if it's going to be cost effective to buy them as replacement parts and put them together. But I definitely think it's going to be something to watch. And if that happens and they are cost effective, these could become very, very popular. The other thing that I noted with these, let me grab the tubing for the original one. This connector here is what plugs in to your Personal Fit flanges. It is the same diameter as the connector for this. The only difference is the tubing connector is flat and 90 degrees versus straight. But what that means is that this could be cross-compatible even if you have, less than ideal tubing fairly easily with other pump parts and other Medela setups. So that will be something to watch, is to see if these do not end up working with more Medela setups. This is definitely an improvement in my opinion. The Freestyle motor appears to be slightly more refined. I'm very satisfied with the testing that I saw with it. And these are a good fit. For people buying a brand new pump setup, absolutely recommend this. For people looking for new cups, these would be $350 right now because you have to buy them with the pump. I don't know that I love them $350 worth. And I don't recommend running out and buying anything until we see what the replacement part situation is. We've seen it many times with the latest and greatest that the replacement parts lag by 6 to 12 months in terms of ready availability. And more than once, we've seen somebody get locked into needing to replace their parts with very expensive parts. So they invested a lot of money for the convenience only to have to find another setup for cost effectiveness. So do consider this if you're looking at buying this pump, but overall, highly recommend this as something to consider.